welcome back to the h.e.r.LIFE Blogcast.
Hello, Rachel, Malak. So glad to be here.
It's been a second since the two of us were on a Zoom like this.
I know, I was concerned. I don't know when the last episode I was on.
I'm trying to trace back because I don't
the
even
voting one. I think it was by the way, y'all should vote. But I think it was that one.
By the way, vote.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm glad to have you. We have a phenomenal episode planned with a very, very special guest. Let's not bury the lead.
Okay. Yeah.
Emma's mom, Mom Spoldi, Ann Spoldi, is on the show this week, and we are so thrilled to have her. This is going to be a very empowerment-centered episode, which is, what more could we ask for?
It's the definition of her blog life.
That's literally our mission statement, and we are living it out today. I cannot wait. But me and Emma are just going to do the little intro segments, and then we're going to welcome in Mama Spoldi.
She's so excited.
I cannot wait. She has her lipstick on, so then I put
know.
on.
Yeah, exactly.
Emma doesn't know who Kim Kardashian is.
It's a long story. I didn't know that. I'm sorry that I didn't know that Kim Kardashian had a makeup line. I thought it was only Kylie.
I mean, it's okay, but I'm glad now that you know, because it's a great line. I think you'd like it. It's available at Ulta.
I was gonna say, where do you get this?
It's very, moderately priced. It's very affordable. Kim is a woman of the people, and I never feel more confident than when I have her lip liner on.
You look great.
Thank you. Watch the YouTube. Papa Spolds, hey. Okay, let's get into it. Let's do some reflections of the week. You kick us off, Em. What is your happy of the week?
Sure. So it's October now when you're listening to this. And I just love October. And it's not because it's my birthday month. Yes, I feel it in my bones, but also it's overall just good vibes. Fall is in the air. People do fall things, and you know what, I think people are just ready to get out their sweaters.
Yeah,
those cute chunky sweaters. And so looking back, I thought it was ridiculous. Sorry, Stu, if you're listening to this, but what was the exercise? It was each person got an animal of who Stu reminded them of.
It was a spirit animal kind of exercise.
Oh, yes. Listen, everybody got an animal, but me, I got a pumpkin.
Yeah.
And I got a pumpkin bookmark to go with that as well.
Yeah, Stu assigned us each a spirit animal kind of thing by giving us a bookmark with the thing on it. I got a butterfly. I'm trying to think what other people got. Sarah probably got flowers or something, and you got
a pumpkin, which at first I was like, Stu, it's just because my birthday is in October. That's what you just associated.
A little
you know what? I think he knew deep down that I sincerely am a pumpkin at heart.
It has become your aura.
Sure, yeah.
Because you are the human embodiment of sweater. Wait, can I start over? You are the human embodiment of sweater weather. We love to visit. You're cozy. You're warm.
I'm happy.
I'm happy for you. Okay. My happy of the week is that this week I attended a diversity media summit that was put on by the Center for Communication. Can't say enough good things about the Center for Communication. That's where I did a lot of those cool media press conference / advanced showings for movies, all those kind of cool events you find on Center for Communication. So if anyone's a communication major looking for stuff to do on their own, check them out, seriously, because they just put on a lot of great stuff. And now since the pandemic, they've been doing a lot of cool virtual events. This is one of them. There's a lot of very cool keynote speakers throughout the rest of the week. It's a 3-day thing. So I'm going to hear from a lot of important people, presumably, and then every day ends with a networking session. So who knows who I'll meet.
Oh, girl.
I love a learning opportunity. We talked about this before, too. It's you kind of have to create your own classroom now because we're out of school. And I'm just excited to get back into that mindset and listen to a lecture. I'm excited. I'm a nerd, but I think it'll be fun.
No, to your point, I think it's weird, not being able to go to class anymore. It's we're so used to that I also think it's a healthy, good balance between work life and personal life. Just having that ability to do something totally different. Very important, and I'm very proud of you. And
you.
Go, girl.
Thank you. I love you. I'm excited. I'll let you know how it goes, but it should be fun. I'm happy about it. Shall we move on to excited?
Sure. Should I go?
Yeah.
I guess kind of going off of school. Wow, that's a good segue, right?
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Holy moly. So, well, I finally have gotten the clarity to finally apply to graduate school. Yeah. And that will be a part-time program online. I chose online because, you know, the uncertainty of the future, and it's also accredited online too, and it takes a long time for programs to get accredited. So even the in-person programs now, it will take a long time. So anyways, I eventually decided on 2 online programs, so I'm applying to those, and it feels great. Like, it feels like a weight off my shoulders, and I hope to start in January.
Yes. It's going to be such a nice transition. But, like, I know what you mean. You're making moves. It, like, feels like you're making actual concrete items. You're, like, moving your future forward. This is a big moment.
It feels nice.
We love a transitional period.
Oh, we do.
I'm excited for you. I'm very proud of you. I think you thought it through and you're making the perfect decision. I feel really great about it.
Oh, I mean, you helped me along the way, girl. You're definitely part of the picture.
Okay, stop. This is getting weirdly emotional. I feel like this whole episode is going to have emotional undertones, guys.
Oh, I think so. There might be some tears.
So, I can't wait. Okay. I am excited this week because I am starting to channel my energy more productively in terms of my political activism, I'll say, which sounds very fiddle. It's not. I'll break it down for you into 2 phases. Phase 1 of me, like, caring about politics in a new way, which we talked on the show. Like, I feel like I have a very evolved sense of the world this election versus last election. And phase 1 of me channeling that energy was pretty obnoxious. Like, I felt myself becoming a nuisance to the people around me, and, like, not in a productive way. Like, every dinner ends in a fight because I was like, oh my God, Trump's the worst. Like, I wasn't channeling it in a good way. And I see it in my family and some other relationships. Like, I wasn't doing a good job. Okay.
Sorry. Just because I know the stories.
No, I know. Like, it's been like multiple people in very different facets of my life. Like, something's wrong. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, identify, adjust. So now I'm moving into phase 2, which is I've just been looking for different ways to volunteer and to be part of things bigger than myself, so that hopefully I can have tools to have more productive conversations with the people that I love, and that I can just do better at the message I'm trying to send, because I think I get, like, too emotional and not at all, like, I need to be rooted back in, like, the facts, and I need to have the tools to be able to communicate my messages effectively for the rest of the month now, because kicking into high gear, baby, like, we are in the final stretch here, and there is nothing I want more than Joe Biden as our president in this moment. So I'm going to do everything I can. I feel good.
Again, proud of you, because you've also gotten me, like, kind of on board with that, and I signed up for the text polling. Yeah.
We're gonna text polls again.
Nice, but no.
You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I needed some kind of way to, like, channel the energy. I always felt like I was going to bed like, oh my God, Trump's president and I'm not doing enough. Like, I just felt so helpless, and I feel like I'm feeling way more productive and just good about it. So I think that's the name of the game, is just identifying ways to do that. And I'm happy that I'm into phase 2, because phase 1 wasn't good for anybody. So I'm sorry also anyone who I, like, offended or whatever. I'm not that sorry. Like, no, I am, but, like, whatever, okay? Let's move on. What are we realizing? And we'll combine this kind of with an October intention setting, because we're beginning a new month. So it's kind of a twofer for our realizations.
Twofer. Shall I go? Yeah. I can go. So my thing is, why flippin' wait?
Why wait?
Why wait? Just why wait? Literally every time I, like, second guess a decision now, like, or, like, mostly starting in September and October, or, like, a feeling, etc. It's like, why wait? Just either say something, do something about it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? At least you tried. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I don't know. Get that on a t-shirt. Why wait?
Why wait? It's kind of like, it could be applied so many ways. It's kind of a do it for the girls who can't situation. Like, if you have an opportunity and you feel strong, go for it. Text the guy, apply to the program. Like, what is stopping you? Nothing. You are the only person stopping you.
Damn, this episode's gonna be
good.
Woo.
Like, I'm fired up already. Okay, I have a good realization too, and I think you're gonna like it a lot. I was listening to a podcast. It was like the daily TED Talk series, and it was from a while ago. But let me start with my actual realization, and then we'll kind of get deeper. So a quote from this TED Talk is, "Root everything you do in love and compassion." Which is very simple, but I felt like I was one of those things that kind of stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, okay, how simple and how much better would the world be if everyone just rooted everything they did in love and compassion, right? And I think I connected that to like all the political things I was trying to do. I was like, starting fights isn't rooting it in love and compassion. You know what I mean? Like it all is coming from a good place, but I need to channel it better. So anyway, I was listening to this TED Talk. It's on the theory of enchantment, which was started by a scholar named Chloe Valdary. And it essentially uses pop culture. That's what I love pop culture, and uses it to teach us about the human condition, more specifically to promote anti-racism. So I have a quote, I think, from her website. So the theory of enchantment is an innovative framework for compassionate anti-racism that combines social emotional learning, character development, and interpersonal growth as tools for leadership development, Mama Spolds, in the boardroom and beyond. So she'll take like a Kendrick Lamar lyric or like a scene from Moana, all these like Beyonce, like there's a lot. She just uses a lot and explains why we gravitate towards those things because they uplift these same values that we hold very dear. And if we would like respect and honor, be enchanted by each other in the same way that we look up to Beyonce or that we watch Disney films, again, the world would be a much better place. I just thought it was such a like simple but also complex kind of way to summarize everything. So definitely check out the TED Talk if you have a second. There are 3 main guidelines though. The compassion one is the third. But number 1 is treat people like human beings, not political abstractions. Important. Number 2, criticize to uplift and empower, never to tear down and never to destroy, which also good, right? Emma.
Oh my gosh.
No, right? I know. And then 3, like I said, root everything you do in love and compassion. There you have it. So I just think that's a good way to frame, one, anti-racism work, absolutely, but also just the way you interact with everyone in your life, I think. It's just a good way to be, especially in our political climate. These are good things, tools to have in the back of our minds that I will take with me into October and hopefully lead us all to a better November and beyond.
Thank you for sharing that. I think I'll definitely, I have to check that out.
No, it's good. Kevin Virgo.
I'm like looking at them again. I was like, wow.
I'll send
They're very powerful, but simple.
Very good. I know. I was so into it. I listened to it on a run. I was like, this is peak Rachel. Like I'm exercising and I'm like learning things. Like who is she? Like it really was a moment. It really was. Okay. Let's bring us back down to reality. Let's go back to one of our tried and true segments that we honestly haven't done in so long. And I'm so excited. Swoon of the week. Emma, who do you have? Who's your pick?
Young the Giant.
Great. It's a great pick.
Again, it's like a fall vibes. I don't know. They're just, every single song, you can feel the power in their voice and you just want them to serenade you. Yeah. It's very emotional though. Like, I don't know why their songs, like all of them, get me very emotional. But like, I guess in a good way, but also in your feels kind of way. But anyways.
Sometimes it's like that content sadness feeling where it's like, oof, I'm feeling things, but I'm very content about it because Young the Giant is singing it to me, you know?
Exactly.
I couldn't agree more. I had Young the Giant on just like Young the Giant radio, and I was in my kitchen like cooking dinner the other day or something, and my dad comes in and he's like, I'm loving these vibes. And I was like, is that a thing that you even say? And he's like, just these vibes are good. And I was like, no, I know.
I wouldn't see it like liking.
I would have never thought like these vibes are good. Like he was just grooving. It was perfect. It's like fall, productive energy. I don't know. I was very into it. Great, Swoon. Okay, I have a pretty good one too, I think. I want to preface this by saying I'm not swooning for the guy I'm about to mention as much as the couple and the idea of the couple, and honestly, more the woman I'm about to mention, if I'm being really honest. I've been so obsessed with Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton. Like, I still can't get over. They've been together for 5 years. I'll say it again, 5 years. Like, they have been together for a while. I love The Voice more than anything, so the fact that The Voice brought them together is beautiful. And they just, nobody thought it would work. I still don't think it's working, but it is.
This is true.
It's
That's
just,
why I'm a little skeptical of this pick, Rachel. I don't know.
Just, like, the most beautiful. It's just like nothing can stop love. Like if you're in love, it's just beautiful, and I love the love, and I'm happy for them, and I'm just thrilled. They just bought a house. They were in the news because they bought a $13.2 million home. I'm swooning for that most of all. I would love to see photos of that home. I'm gonna look more into that. I'm just happy for them, and also because it's October, I'd like to remind everyone, I have always, for the last 5 years, wanted to do a couple's costume of me as Gwen Stefani and my partner as Blake Shelton. But none of the Florida men's basketball team has yet to take me up on this offer. So I have gone so low. And I can't be Gwen Stefani. Gwen Stefani on her own is not as powerful a Halloween costume now as it would be if it was a couple. Like, it would be so easy, too.
That's true.
All I need is a red lip and a crop top. He needs a cowboy hat, and we are good to freaking go. It's so easy. So,
did you hear their new song together?
Yeah, this was Gwen's first time on the country charts. Like, she's winning awards now. Didn't she win something, the country award? I'm sorry, I didn't watch. I'm like, oh.
I don't know if she won any. I'm sorry. I don't.
When I was Googling for that, I was like, please, Emma, don't ask about the song because I don't know.
Oh, man, sorry.
I was like, I didn't look into the song. I actually don't know the song.
It's a cute song. It's a cute song.
Freaking love each other so much. And I just think it's beautiful. So I swoon for their love, and I swoon mostly for Gwen Stefani because she's so hot and she's getting up there. Her plastic surgery is beyond. I have never seen her roots grow out. Like, she is perfection, and that's what I want for me and my blonde, you know? That's my swoon. Okay, let's do a quick content catch-up before we get to our BAB of the week, which again is Ann Spoldi. Okay, content. Emma, you can hit us first.
Yes, so on YouTube, I think premium, but then it like becomes free episodes. There's this new docu-series. Again, very into the docu-series. It's called Defying Gravity, The Untold Story of Women's Gymnastics. Now, I used to do gymnastics, so I've been like kind of always into it, and just like I literally would watch just like YouTube videos of like gymnastics meets, like college gymnastics meets. I know that sounds crazy, but anyways, like I don't know, it's just a beautiful sport. And what am I saying?
It's okay. She's overwhelmed with her passion.
Overwhelmed. The world of gymnastics is changing like so much, and this definitely goes into it more of like the mental health aspect of it, and just how like basically also like leadership within women's gymnastics has been changing. And like the perception of body image has been changing, and just overall like the skill development. So yeah, definitely worth it. They're like 30-minute episodes, and it's beautifully shot. So highly recommend.
Okay, no, that's a great little piece of content. Thank you for sharing. You just love a gymnast.
I do love a gymnast.
You do. That's okay. Share your passions with the world. That's why we're here. I love that. Okay, mine, I have an oof. I have done it. I have revisited Normal People, the series.
The book or the series?
The series. I finished the book beginning of quarantine, and I liked it, but it made me sad. And then the series came out, and I tried to watch it, but it made me sink into myself. Like, it was not good. So I was like, I'm going to just put this on a shelf. I'm going to put it away and tell everyone I know not to watch it so as to protect themselves. And Emma watched it.
I didn't finish it, though. I didn't finish it because you told me not to finish it.
Okay, well then I have bypassed you. I watched it after my breakdown in the pizza parking lot. Remember when I snapped you that emotional snap? I went home and I was like, I need cathartic energy. So I was like, I'll just watch like the remaining 5 episodes of the show. And it really just wrecks you. There's no other way. It's just, I think, again, we talked about the cinematography. It's a very beautiful show, but it's also just so heart-wrenchingly sad. Mostly because it's very accurate, I think. Like, so God, does it wreck you? But as I reflected on it, I'm thinking, okay, like, I'm proud of myself. I think I've evolved emotionally throughout the quarantine. Like, I am now in a place where I could handle it, and I feel like enriched by the viewing experience. And I couldn't say that a few months ago. So I'm happy that I got there. Like, I guess things are going better. Like, I'm feeling better about things, which was good. But man, I cannot get over the show. I can't talk about it enough. The male lead whose name is Paul something. I'm sorry, I did not prep this enough, but his name is Paul in real life. I forget his last name, but if you're listening, Paul, you did great, and he was nominated for an Emmy. He didn't win, but I think the nomination is huge for a limited series like this on a streaming platform. Viewership in general is changing, and it's just, this is a cool thing to pinpoint. And I think it's like everybody has watched it. You know what I'm saying? Like at least bits and pieces. Like everyone's talking about it. It was wild. Emma, did you get to the scene in the therapist's office?
No, not yet.
That is the scene.
Sad.
Oh my God. Like wrecks you.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, the book, I was like freaking sobbing. So, I mean.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm going to say something also while we're waiting for your mom, and then I'm going to edit out of the episode, but it'll be YouTube bonus content. I think I've said this before too. Like, I just appreciate how small her boobs are, because
yeah.
normally
No, it's like
a sex scene or like there's a sexy female lead, like she's got the biggest knocker. I'm sorry, she's got big boobs, and I'm trying to like diversify my language.
Wait, what?
Knockers is a word for boobs.
No, I know that, but
right.
In the series, no.
When you,
I understand what you're
saying. From like gorgeous female lead, she's got like a great set of boobs, and I don't. Like, I'm just not one of those girls who's ever gonna live that dream unless I get plastic surgery, which like hopefully one day, but we're not there yet. And so I just thought it was really nice to see a flat-chested girl on the screen, and like you see it all. It's a mature show, and I just thought that was a nice. Like I like half mean that jokingly, but also not. Like I think that was like nice for me to see representation, man. Like, you know what I mean, though?
No, I was gonna say like not be careful watching the show, but like just be.
You can't be with your parents.
Definitely not. No. Yeah.
It looks like it looks pornographic.
No, I know.
Like you see it all. Like things are out. So you do have to have the door shut. I was like very nervous that someone's gonna walk in, and that even if you pause it, like there's no saving you, you know. So you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. But a phenomenal show. I was listening to another podcast recently, and they were talking about the Emmys, and they were talking about Paul, whose last name I forgot, and they were talking about the sex scenes in particular, and saying how in a lot of shows and movies, I feel like you just throw a sex scene in for the sake of it, sex it up. That's what sells, you know, just like jazz it up a little bit. But this is not an example of that. I think she was saying, Julie Kramer of Common Spice Bloods, if you really want to know, was saying how these sex scenes are so intentional, and they really like develop the plot, and it has so much to do with this relationship and how they evolve and devolve. And it's just, is devolve a word? Like the opposite of evolve? That's what I meant. I meant the opposite of it. So like how the relationship transitions, like sex has a lot to do with it. And I feel like also, yes, in the real world, from what I understand, I don't know. From what I've read, that's true for like real people too. So,
but that's how the book is written too. Like, I think that's why it's just very easy.
Very true.
Gosh, but like,
yeah. It's a great show. Anything else we're watching while we stall?
Should I text my mom?
Text her in the meantime. Just say we're ready. Like, it's literally fine. Okay. I'm trying to think what else. I watched the first episode of the Home Edit series on Netflix. Did you see that? It's with the
Home Edit?
Yeah, it's an organization show with the two girls who run the Instagram account with like millions of followers. Like, it's a viral account called the Home Edit, and they organize stuff, but color coding is like their jam. Like everything's the perfect rainbow gradient and how they organize stuff. And they organized Reese Witherspoon's memorabilia closet. So she had all of her costumes and Oscars and everything, and they organized the whole space. And I literally only watched the first 20 minutes of the first episode because that was the Reese portion. That's the only reason I watched. But it was, if you're into Reese Witherspoon, very fun just to watch that. However, I will say I watched through a critical lens because the girls are annoying. Oh my God, she's here. They're annoying in the show. So like, I'm not going to watch the rest of this series is my point. Okay, here we go. I'm so excited for it to pop up.
Hello.
Hello, ladies.
Oh my God.
You sound great.
And Spoldi is in our midst. I am so excited to have you. You are our BAB of the week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. You look great. I love your background. This is all great. Like, you look phenomenal.
Thank you. This is my coaching environment. So
it's very calm. It's very welcoming. Blue is welcoming. We've talked about that on the show, so I appreciate this already.
Excellent.
We love. You look so great. I'm so happy. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm so
I
happy.
know.
You.
Every chance I have to see you, Rachel, is always a pleasurable moment for me.
We have to do more Zoom calls just for fun.
Count me in.
We'll start. Okay, let's talk about your line of work. First of all, just give me a rundown. What's your official title? I took it from LinkedIn, but tell me in your own words what you do on a daily basis. And yeah, we'll start there.
So my current title is leadership coach and change management consultant. But tonight, what I would like to focus on is the leadership coaching, because that's really where I would like to invest most of my time in my future.
I love that. And specifically women in STEM, yes?
So my target audience is women in STEM, yes. Actually, high potential women in STEM.
Okay, cool. So tell me about the process. Like, do they find you? Do you find them? I don't know if that's a dumb question. I'm sorry if it is, but like, tell me about how you find your clients.
So it's a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
So yeah. So first of all, I have a huge network because I've worked for many companies over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started my coaching practice last year, I did some marketing and advertising. I created a website. I just made it known to my network that I was going to focus on coaching and be available. And as a result of that, I've been getting a good amount of business.
Yes, we love that. She's
Very
an empowered woman herself.
Can I say something, Mom?
What's that?
Okay, we're in the same house, but we're like in different rooms. You say that it's fine that I walk behind you with the like windows, but you can totally see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like if I go upstairs, if I dance a little bit with the dogs, like you could definitely see.
Oh, because of the windows behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, although just keep in mind, when I'm on a Zoom call with a client, I'm not looking backwards, I'm looking forwards.
I know, but those clients see me doing
No, they don't
stuff.
see you. They don't see you. Once in a while, the dogs open the door and they come in, the dogs come in, and then that creates a little bit of a moment of humor, so.
Okay, sorry. Back to.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
I was just like, oh boy.
Okay, so now I want you to kind of walk me through the day-to-day. What obviously it's probably very different now that it's a virtual, but what does a coaching session look like? Are there some like key themes that you try to articulate with every client, or does it kind of vary person to person?
Yeah, so the coaching process is actually pretty standard, well laid out, and people go to school to become, certified coaches. Mm-hmm. And take classes, so that there's definitely a standard that you want to adhere to in coaching, because obviously the role that you're playing with your clients is extremely important. So when I start working with a new client, the first question we really tackle is what are their overarching goals? And I usually describe two sorts of goals. One is what I call the uber goal, the large goal that they want to accomplish, say at the end of the 6-month program working with me. And then on a week-to-week basis, if we are meeting weekly for say an hour, at the beginning of that call, I'll ask them, what do they want to focus on today? And sometimes they want to focus on the uber goal that we define, and sometimes they show up just maybe having left a really big meeting with their company, and they face some challenges, and they want to talk about the challenges that they were just dealing with, and how can they solve for that, so they don't have to go through that in the future.
Right. Yeah, no, that's very cool. I just don't think I don't think I ever thought critically about what you're actually doing every day. So it's cool to now, the wheels are turning, and it's cool to hear you talk about it in your own words. I think I want to hear more about women specifically. Like you say, that's your target audience. One, why? I'm assuming in part because you are an empowered woman yourself, and you want to kind of spread the wealth in that way, but also long term, I guess, what is so fulfilling about working with women in particular, and do we hope that one day this kind of training for women specifically isn't necessary because the playing field will be evened out? Talk to me about that, where you see long term.
So there's a few questions, I think, actually in that question that you just asked me. So let me start with the question about why did I select women as my audience? it really has to do with what you inferred, right? So, I've been working for over 40 years, and I've seen an amazing difference from when I graduated college and I started working in the workforce versus now. And I know what I needed to do to, kind of get to the levels that I got in the corporations that I worked at. And I just know like how many challenges there were for women. And in the last 20 years of my career, I've worked in technology, either companies or organizations. And what I've noticed is, women specifically say in technology, there just aren't as many women leaders in technology companies and technology organizations. So they don't really have a lot of role models. Mm-hmm. And what I would love is about 2 or 3 years ago, I really started focusing on what was my sense of purpose. And what I realized was I could spend, the rest of my life working for large corporations, or I could use, the next 10, 15 years to do something more purposeful. Not saying that what I wasn't doing before wasn't purposeful, but just something more personally gratifying, and devote some of my time to help bring up the next generation of women. And my goal is I'm focusing on what I call high potential women. And so what that means is that, high potential women are amazing, right? So they're just really curious. They love to learn. They love to apply what you've talked about in your coaching session immediately. So, say I coach someone today and we had a great conversation, and then I meet with them next Tuesday. Well, when I meet with them next Tuesday, they pop up on my Zoom call, and they're so excited about putting into action some of the things that we talked about during our session today. And you could just see that they're already reaping the benefits of these kind of deep conversations that we're having.
Yeah. That's just so rad. I feel like amped up and ready to go. Like I want to fulfill a goal. I don't know. I like what you said about just how fulfilling the work is. And I also appreciate how you've been so open to your career kind of changing, because I think even the way we talk about careers and think about it, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's a question we hear all the time. Like I've heard that all my life. And it's like, as if there's one answer, you know what I mean? Like we are constantly kind of evolving, and it's cool to see your career as a good example of that, and now paying it forward in the way that you are just seems very full circle and cool.
It is exactly that, Rachel. It's exactly that.
I love that. Also, Emma, at any point if you want to I feel like I don't want to, if you have a question.
No.
Like, your mom, like you probably talk about this more. I'm like,
No, but very inspiring. And also like, I guess I too get a little like gratified from it, because it's like, wow, she truly is like helping someone. And like I did write in my graduate application, like kind of like that you're like my mentor for almost being like why I want to be like a counselor. So yeah, it's very gratifying to see. And like you do have a lot of skill, and yeah, sign up for coaching for you. And also to point out that like you started as a chemist though too, right? Like going back to the point that like you don't have to like what you think that you're gonna do like right now, projected growth, like what you have no idea what you're gonna do.
Well, I must tell you, like when you just mentioned about that notion of having to select one thing that you're going to do for the rest of your life, it's kind of exactly how it doesn't work. Unless you're going to be, say, a doctor or a lawyer, where it really is like a long-term sort of career, right? People don't go through all that training and all those courses and all those dollars spent, right? And typically, change fields. I mean, many do. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but in my case, I even when I went to college, it was really confusing about what I wanted to be. And what I did was I selected the classes that I really loved the most from my earlier days, which was chemistry and biology. And that's what I studied in college. And when I graduated college, I was a chemist in a lab for a few years. And then 3 years later, I realized it was exactly what I didn't want to be when I grow up. And, but what's interesting is I've always used my kind of inner compass to guide me. And, from there, I went into product marketing and working for a company that actually sold instrumentation into our laboratory. And I wound up working for that company for almost 12 years and was very successful there. And then after that role is when we moved to California, and I left the company and I went to work for a technology company out in the Bay Area called Sun Microsystems. It doesn't exist anymore. It was bought up by Oracle many years ago. But Sun was an amazing company to work for. They allowed people to literally change jobs, change roles within 6 months. So you could, you could have a lot of different jobs in a short period of time. And they were just really open to employees getting all kinds of new experiences. And 20 years ago is when I had the opportunity to lead some leadership development programs at Sun. And that's when I got really introduced to leadership coaching, and just always knew that it was something that really resonated with me, and I've kind of taken it always forward in my future jobs. And then when we left California, 11 years ago, we came to New Jersey when I went to work for Merck. And of course, in that whole process is when I had the pleasure of having the most important thing in my life happen, which is, adopting my beautiful daughter there. So when we came to New Jersey, I went to work for Merck, and I worked in their IT organization. And I worked very closely with many of the executives there, helping them drive their agenda. And I was able to apply all the lessons that I'd learned 20 years ago at Sun, at Merck. And then literally a few years ago is when I just got real clarity about kind of, again, what was giving me energy, what was taking energy away from me. And I just knew when I was in a coaching and mentoring, teaching kind of a role is when I had a lot of satisfaction and a lot of energy. In fact, it never felt like work. And then I asked myself the question one day, what if I were to make this my full-time job, and what would it take? And that's when I went to Georgetown University, and I got a certificate in leadership coaching from Georgetown, and then I opened up my practice last year.
Wow. It's cool that we're right on the heels of a very huge transition in your life, you know what I mean? And it's cool to, because even hearing you talk about it sounds like you're so rooted and so assured of your decision. So it's very cool to see that it is so fresh, and it was kind of a long time in the making, but this is the perfect time for you to be committing fully.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I love it. And you mentioned a little bit about this, so I want to parse it out a little bit more. Let's talk work-life balance and your experience with that. Do we think it needs to be 50-50? Should there be a mix of work and play? How do we feel on a day-to-day? How have you managed that, and how has it evolved throughout your career?
So, interestingly, when I was younger, I was looking at work-life balance just the way you described it, as, these two words that were extremely meaningful because we were either at work or doing our life.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like work wasn't part of life. It felt like there was work and life, but they weren't necessarily always connected. And I've realized in hindsight, and interestingly, coaches, by the way, have coaches. So I have a few coaches. And one of my coaches introduced me to something called the Wheel of Life a few years ago. And I just want to share that with you. It's kind of a framework on how to think about life. Because I really had a huge pet peeve when I was working in large organizations about this concept of work-life balance, because to be honest with you, for me, it never felt balanced. And, the corporations had wonderful policies and programs and were encouraging us to, be balanced, but it just never felt balanced. So a few years ago, I got introduced to this framework called the Wheel of Life. And what I love about this is how it just helps me now put life in a much broader perspective than just work and life. So imagine a pizza pie. Just imagine a large circle that's cut into 8 slices.
Okay.
And that's the Wheel of Life. And the slices are, there's family, there's romance and love, there's finance and wealth, there's spirituality, there's health and fitness, there's purpose, contribution, and there's work and career.
Wow.
So that's how you describe life. And what you want to do is make sure, for me, and I don't mean to sound preachy, but what I think is really important is that, people look at life through those perspectives or lenses, because sometimes what happens, we get so, the balance that, we get off of is because, we're just putting all of our time into work, and, you start to forget about your family. Or, you're not saving enough money for your future, or, you're really not in touch with, your spirituality. So for me, like, looking at life through this like broader perspective has really helped me just become way more balanced, because now I can ask myself the question, like, how am I doing on a scale of 1 to 10 with family? How am I doing on a scale of 1 to 10 with like romance and love? How am I doing on a scale of 1 to 10 with, my friendships? And, and when you see yourself declining in one of those spaces, then you can ask yourself a question, well, if that's really important to you, do you need to invest more time in it? And what needs to give, and how do you make it so that you can create the boundaries at work so you can have more time to invest in all those other really important topics and areas?
Yeah, totally. That's great to hear. I like the Wheel of Life.
Yeah.
We'll share the graphics.
We'll definitely share the graphics. It's gonna be on the Instagram. Are you kidding? We love the Wheel of Life. No, but I think I feel like, Emma, maybe you could speak to this too. I think especially when we're in the beginning of our careers, as we both are, it's like you want to kind of prove yourself, and you want to throw everything you are into the work slice so that you can just, like I said, prove yourself and show that you're in the right field and da-da-da-da. But I think the Wheel of Life is to be applied to every stage of life also. So I think it's just an important thing to keep, we like kind of mastered it by the end of college. I think like figuring out where school fit in, and now work is just a slice. It's just a slice.
Right. Yeah.
But then I think it's cool also to look at the intersections, like where work overlaps with purpose, and to parse that out a little bit more is cool. Like I think that's when you're in the very sweet spot, when you can kind of not check 2 boxes, because that makes it seem like you're checking a box. That's not what I mean, but it's cool to see the intersections.
Well, so when you can align work and purpose, I'll tell you, because I've done that now, is what happens is it doesn't feel like work anymore. Yeah. It only feels like purpose.
Oh, that's a dream, right?
Very well said.
That's what we want. Oh, that's beautiful. And maybe that will answer my next question to you. I want to ask, what is the best piece of career advice you've ever gotten? Is it that, or is it some variation of that? Talk to me.
So 2 things come to mind.
Okay.
One is, so one of my managers many years ago, this is like when I was much earlier in my career, really helped me understand that I was responsible for my own career. So my sense is that many people go to work thinking that someone else is looking out for them. And I'm not saying that in organizations that they aren't. Of course they are, but you really are responsible for your own career. And, when you think about the conversation we just had about the Wheel of Life, when you feel like you're not balanced, when you feel like you're missing purpose, you can ask others to help you solve that. But at the end of the day, it's really up to you to solve for this. So the one bit of advice was that I was responsible for my career. And as a result of that, I literally gave myself the ability to transform several times over the course of my career. I mean, I started as a chemist, and then I went to product marketing, and then I went into business development. Then I went down, this whole 6 Sigma process improvement, organizational change management, and then into leadership coaching. So, but those were like major shifts. But for me, it just, I was always centered on like what's important to me, like right now, and what's making me feel like I want to do this for the next few years. And I always align myself to that. The other advice that I think was really important for me was advice my mother gave me many years ago. And my mother, when I was younger, there were times, growing up, I just, either you didn't feel happy or disappointed about something. And she really instilled in me this concept that, you know, as a human being, like, you are responsible for your own happiness. You cannot wait for someone else to make you happy. Like, you can't assume someone else is going to make you happy. And, you know, in many respects, I've just really taken that to heart. And it was really good advice, because I really feel responsible for my own happiness. And there are many times, like, I'm alone for a long time, and I just never feel down. I'm just always optimistic. I remain positive, because I just choose to see the world and as, like, you know, the glass is half full. I choose to be optimistic versus pessimistic. And as a result of that, that's just helped me to be a much happier person.
I love that. Oh, I feel so happy. I can always tell how an episode is going based on how much I'm nodding, and I'm looking at me and Emma, and the whole time we're like, like, we just keep nodding along, because everything you're saying is like, I feel it, and I'm like so receptive to everything you're saying. So thank you for just being so open and for sharing everything, because I think it's going to be helpful to a lot of people.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's very applicable to, like, how we're feeling too, Rach, just like starting our careers and everything. So it's just like, thank you.
Yes, transitional moments. We needed some coaching today, and that's exactly what we got. So
invite me back whenever you'd like.
Oh my God, of course. I guess we'll end as our last little soundbite from you. Mom Spolds, what is your one piece of advice that you would like to give to everyone who's at the very, very beginning of their career right now, starting in a pandemic? What would you say to girls like us?
So I would ask you to think about the advice that I got from, you know, my manager and my mother, and to, you know, just reflect on that and see if that, you know, has meaning for you, because I just feel like it was the greatest advice for me. And even though, like, my agenda can't be your agenda, you know, I would just ask you to reflect on the advice that I got that was so beneficial.
Okay, and part two?
So part two of my advice is, you know, the only thing that's constant is change. And if you think about, you know, the world around us, I mean, things are changing constantly, right? Whether it's, you know, the pandemic this year, right, which is, you know, just huge, and just all the sadness that comes along with that, people losing jobs. You know, Disney reports today that they're, like, I think, laying off another 28,000 people or something. So, I mean, there's just change all around us. And, you know, my advice to all of you who are just starting your careers is just don't be afraid of the change. Like, you know, adopt the change, go with the flow, you know, like, ride the waves, and just embrace the change, because that's the only thing that really will be constant over the course of your career. You know, you might find out tomorrow you have a new manager. You might find out tomorrow someone loses a job, whatever it could be. And you just always want to be resilient and just stay focused on what's most important to you, and all those things that we talked about earlier in the Wheel of Life.
Yes, the Wheel of Life. That's so good. It was so full circle also, because Emma and I were talking about at the top of the episode, like, we started the blog because of transitional moments and how that can often breed, like, it often just creates a lot of stress and anxiety. But when there's change and when there's transition, you can either lean into the stress and the anxiety, or you can lean into the optimism and the hope and the excitement of it all. So I think that leads right into what you offered as well. So another full circle on our Wheel of Life. I just really thinking about this. Honestly, thank you so much for joining us and for sitting down. I'm so excited to have you on an episode. This is going to be a favorite, I'm sure. I loved it.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say congratulations to, you know, both of you this evening, because I know you just celebrated your 1-year anniversary with this blog. And I always enjoy listening to them when they come out. And it's just been, you know, it's been a great way for me to stay more connected with the younger generations.
Well, I'm sure there will be many more collaborations to come, because this has been so much fun. So best of luck to you in your transitional period. And as your career continues to flourish, I'm sure there are big things to come for all of us. I'm so excited.
Thanks, Rachel.
Love you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Emma, you can say your thing. Say Emma.
I'm Emma Spoldi.
And I'm Rachel Malak. This has been the Her Life Blogcast.